Have you ever woken up and realized that what used to rise with you every morning simply didn't? That quiet moment before dawn when your body should feel strong, alive, certain, suddenly empty? Most men tell me they shrug it off at first. They blame stress, a bad night's sleep, maybe too much wine, but deep down they worry. Because when morning wood disappears, it's rarely random. It's the body's first warning whisper that something deeper, your blood flow, your hormones, even your confidence is starting to slip. I've seen it countless times in my patients. And every time I can almost see the same question in their eyes. Is this the beginning of the end? It isn't. Not if you understand what's really happening inside your body and learn how to reset it. Tonight, I'll show you how to bring that natural rhythm back without pills, without pressure, so you can wake up the way nature always intended, full of life strength and certainty again. I've seen it in hundreds of men who come into my clinic quietly embarrassed, trying to laugh it off. Doc, I just don't wake up the same anymore. They think it's random, but it isn't. What's really happening inside their bodies is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood processes in male health. Every night during a phase of deep sleep called REM, the body runs a full system maintenance check. The heart rate shifts, the brain clears toxins, and blood vessels open wide like a nighttime irrigation system, washing every cell clean. For men, that same cycle triggers several spontaneous erections. Usually 4 to 5 in their 20s, 3 to 4 in their 40s, and fewer as the decades roll on. It's nature's way of testing circulation and keeping the muscles of the penis oxygenated and strong. Think of it as a sleep workout your body performs automatically while you dream. But here's the problem: as stress climbs, sleep shortens, and testosterone quietly drifts downward, that nightly workout starts to vanish. When REM sleep is interrupted by alcohol, blue light exposure, late night scrolling, or sleep apnea, the body skips its repair mode. The result: less nitric oxide, the molecule that opens blood vessels and powers blood flow. Studies show men lose about 10% of nitric oxide production every decade after age 30, which means by 60, the internal switch for strong circulation may be running at half power. And that's exactly when most men start blaming everything except biology. I often tell my patients, imagine your arteries like garden hoses. When pressure is strong, water flows easily. But if those hoses harden or kink, no amount of willpower will make the water reach the end. Morning erections are the same pure blood flow physics mixed with hormonal chemistry. When they fade, your body isn't lazy or broken. It's signaling that its internal pumps need attention. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once men understand this mechanism, the fear begins to fade. Because if the problem comes from disrupted sleep cycles and nitric oxide decline, that means there's a way to train the body to remember to restore that signal naturally. I've watched patients who thought they were too old for this begin to wake up hard again, not by chance, but by resetting the rhythm their bodies forgot. And what surprises most of them isn't the science. It's how simple the solution really is. That's what I'm about to share next, a nightly ritual that taps directly into this biology, rewiring your circulation while you sleep. But before we get there, let's expose one more hidden truth doctors rarely talk about. When I explain that blood flow and nitric oxide are the real architects behind every strong erection, most men stare at me, half relieved, half terrified. They finally understand why it's happening. But now they want to know how bad it really is. That's when I ask them a question that usually makes the room go silent. Do you know your erection age? Because here's the truth, your chronological age and your erection age are rarely the same. I've treated 50-year-olds performing like 30-year-olds and 30-year-olds whose bodies already act 60. The difference isn't luck, It's lifestyle, sleep quality, vascular health, and hormone balance. A study from the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men with even mild sleep apnea were 2.9 times more likely to lose nocturnal erections than those who slept deeply. That means a single habit, staying up too late scrolling or drinking, can literally add decades to your erection age overnight. So I built a simple test that my patients now use at home, a short quiz that analyzes blood flow markers, lifestyle patterns, and morning wood frequency. It doesn't just give a number, it gives perspective. When men see they're running 20 years older than their birth certificate, something shifts. Fear turns into motivation. They start realizing this isn't about masculinity, it's about circulation, oxygen, and vitality. And once you measure it, you can manage it. But here's what keeps most men stuck. They know the score, yet they don't know how to fix it. That's where the real transformation begins, because understanding is step one. Reprogramming the body is step two. And if you've ever wondered whether it's truly possible to train your body to get those natural erections back without a single pill, then don't move. What comes next is the part that changes everything, the 3-step nightly ritual that resets your blood flow, clears prostate congestion, and reawakens the rhythm your body was born with. Once a man learns his erection age, something powerful happens. He starts to see his body not as an enemy, but as a system waiting to be reset. That's the moment I tell my patients, your recovery doesn't happen in the gym or in the bedroom. It happens in the hours before you fall asleep. Because what you do in those final minutes before bed can either heal your body or silently harm it. At night, your hormones and circulation perform a symphony together. Testosterone begins its repair cycle, nitric oxide wants to open the arteries, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and rebuild mode, finally takes control. But here's what most men get wrong. Instead of helping that natural repair, they block it. Late night emails, bright screens, alcohol, heavy meals. Each of these tells your brain, stay alert, don't heal. And when the brain obeys, the body pays. That's why I teach what I call the nightly reset ritual, a simple 3-step sequence that signals your body to open up, clear out, and prepare for its best blood flow while you sleep. The first goal is to relieve pelvic and prostate congestion, freeing the pathways that carry blood to the erection center. The second is to stimulate circulation naturally, so oxygen-rich blood can nourish the tissues again. And the third is to activate rest and repair mode, allowing your nervous system to do what modern life constantly interrupts, restore you from the inside out. It's the same method I've taught executives, truck drivers, and even retired athletes who thought their morning strength was gone for good. Within weeks, they reported not only stronger erections, but better sleep, steadier mood, and clearer focus. Why? Because when circulation improves, everything else does too. And this is where most men lean in, because what I'm about to explain next sounds almost too simple, but simplicity is what makes it powerful. The next step in this journey isn't a pill, it's a pressure point, one tiny spot on your body that holds the key to freeing years of hidden tension. Most men are shocked when I tell them that the first key to stronger erections starts in the quietest moment of their day, right after they pee before bed. That's when I introduce them to what I call the PowerPoint drain release. I've watched it change lives because it fixes something so simple yet so ignored, residual pressure. You see, the male urinary system and the prostate are like two rooms sharing one hallway. When the bladder doesn't empty completely, those last few drops of urine settle against the prostate like water trapped behind a dam. Over time, that constant pressure makes the glands swell, tighten, and block healthy blood flow. One of my older patients once joked, "Doc, it feels like my body's holding onto the day's stress drop by drop." He wasn't wrong. Here's what I teach them. After you finish urinating, pause for a moment. Place 2 fingers gently in that soft area between the testicles and the anus. That's your perineum. The exact midpoint that connects your pelvic floor to your prostate. Press upward for 3 to 5 seconds. Not hard, just firm enough to feel a little resistance. Most men notice a few extra drops release, and that's the point. It's not random. That's the leftover fluid your bladder didn't clear. No, those few drops represent tension your body's been holding for years. When you let them go, the prostate decompresses, inflammation eases, and the blood channels that feed your erection open wider again. It's simple physiology. Less pressure means better flow. And when the body can flow, it can heal. I've seen men who used to wake 3 times a night to urinate finally sleep straight through. Others tell me their morning fullness feels younger, stronger, more natural because the highway is no longer blocked. What fascinates me most is how fast this works. Within days, the pelvic region starts to feel lighter, warmer, more responsive. It's a physical reset button hidden in plain sight. Yet this is only the beginning because releasing tension is one thing, stimulating new blood flow is another. And that's exactly what we do next. In step 2, I show my patients how to turn a simple tennis ball into a powerful therapy tool that revives circulation from the outside in. After the PowerPoint drain frees that trapped pressure, we move deeper, literally. I tell my patients this next part is where the real circulation magic begins. Because now we're not just releasing tension, we're retraining the body to invite blood flow back in. For decades, physicians treated prostate congestion with internal massage. It worked, but it was invasive, uncomfortable, and often embarrassing for men to request. So I developed a modern, simpler version they can do privately at home. All you need is a tennis ball. I have them sit on a firm chair or even the edge of a bed, place the ball under the perineum, and let gravity do most of the work. Roll slowly forward and backward, breathing as if you're exhaling through the tension itself. What happens under the surface is remarkable. That gentle pressure stretches the pelvic floor muscles, the same ring of muscle that tightens around the base of the erection like a fist. When those fibers loosen, blood can surge freely again. Oxygen reaches the tissues, and the nerves that control arousal start to wake up. One of my patients, a long-haul truck driver, once told me he'd spent 30 years sitting down, and it took a tennis ball to teach his body how to stand tall again. Within a week of nightly rolling, he said the dull ache behind his groin vanished, and his morning erections returned like clockwork. His story still makes me smile because it shows how the body responds once we give it permission to heal. From a physiological standpoint, this is circulation therapy from the outside in. Research from the International Journal of Andrology notes that targeted pelvic massage can increase local blood flow by up to 30%. That's the same improvement seen with some prescription drugs, but achieved completely naturally. Most men describe the sensation as warm, almost electric, and that's exactly what I want it means. Dormant vessels are reopening and the nervous system is finally cooperating with the bloodstream again. But tension release and blood activation are only 2 parts of the equation. The final ingredient is what I call the night switch, the signal that tells the nervous system to shift from fight or flight into rest and repair mode. Because without that, all the blood in the world can't build what stress keeps breaking down. And that's where step 3 begins a breathing pattern so simple yet so powerful, it can reignite nitric oxide flow in less than 60 seconds. After tension is released and circulation reawakens, there's one last switch. To To flip the one that controls your entire nervous system, I call it the night breath lock. It's deceptively simple, but it's where everything you've done so far comes together. I tell my patients you can't force blood flow with effort alone, you have to invite it. And the invitation begins with breath. When you breathe through your nose slowly and deliberately, you trigger a built-in reflex that tells your brain, it's safe now, you can heal. Here's how I guide them. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for a brief heartbeat, then exhale gently for 6. The key is the exhale. That's when the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest, digest, and arouse mode, takes over. Within minutes, heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and oxygen delivery rises. More importantly, each slow nasal breath releases a small burst of nitric oxide from the lining of the sinuses, that same molecule we've been talking about since the beginning. It's the natural gas that fuels blood flow, widens arteries, and feeds the erection's foundation. A study in the American Journal of Physiology showed that nasal breathing can increase nitric oxide availability by up to 20-fold compared to mouth breathing. That means every deep, calm breath before bed is like sending a quiet signal down the highway of your bloodstream. Relax, open, restore. Most men tell me they feel the change immediately. The warmth spreading the pulse, steadying the mind, slowing down just enough to drift into deeper sleep. And that deeper sleep is not just rest. It's therapy. During REM, your body rebuilds, testosterone clears metabolic waste, and performs that silent erection workout we talked about earlier. When your breath becomes your medicine, you no longer chase results. You create the environment for them to happen. And when you combine this nightly breath lock with the 2 earlier steps, draining pressure and reviving circulation, you're rebuilding your body's internal rhythm piece by piece. But for men who've gone months, even years without consistent morning strength, sometimes the body needs an extra push, a modern tool that re-educates the tissues and reminds them what they're built to do. That's where the bonus step comes in, and it's the part that usually makes my patients sit up straight when they hear it. By the time most men reach this stage, something inside them has already started to shift. They feel lighter, calmer, more in control of their own biology. But for those whose morning strength has been silent for too long, the body sometimes needs one last reminder, a signal so direct that it reignites muscle memory itself. That's where I bring in what I call the P3 pump protocol. I always tell my patients, don't let the word pump intimidate you. This isn't about artificial enhancement or anything cosmetic. It's about retraining tissue that has forgotten how to feel stretch and hold pressure safely, gently, and scientifically. Think of it as physiotherapy for the body's most private muscle group. When used correctly, a medical-grade vacuum pump creates a mild negative pressure that draws blood into the erectile chambers, expanding them the way exercise expands the lungs. That fresh oxygen triggers a release of growth factors, collagen, and nitric oxide, the very substances your body uses to rebuild its vascular health. I've watched men who'd spent months relying on pills finally start producing natural erections again after just 2 weeks of consistent use. Their faces light up, not just from physical change, but from relief, because now they know their body still works. It just needed the right kind of stimulus, the same way an athlete reawakens after physical therapy. The science supports it too. Research in the British Journal of Urology found that regular vacuum therapy can improve erectile firmness by up to 87% when combined with lifestyle modification and relaxation techniques. But what truly fascinates me is the psychology behind it. When a man sees progress with his own eyes, when he watches his body respond again, his brain begins to rewire. Confidence returns, stress hormones fall and blood flow improves even more. It becomes a self-feeding cycle of recovery and belief. I remind every patient this isn't just about getting an erection. It's about reclaiming vitality, circulation, sleep focus, and mood. When you combine the P3 protocol with the PowerPoint drain, the rolling release, and the night breath lock, you're no longer fighting your body. You're partnering with it. And that's the exact point where healing begins. Still, there's one final insight that ties all of this together, the part most men never hear from their doctor. It's not another exercise or device. It's a shift in how you see your own body. Because once you understand this last truth, everything you've practiced so far suddenly makes perfect sense. So let's bring everything together. Each night, your body gives you a choice to keep running on stress and habit or to return to balance, strength, and confidence. The 3 steps you've learned tonight, the PowerPoint, drain the prostate, rolling release, and the night breath lock, are not tricks. They're a way to remind your body of what it already knows how to flow, how to restore, how to rise again naturally. And for those who take it one step further with the P3 protocol, I've seen transformations that go far beyond the bedroom. Better sleep, clearer focus, steadier mood, stronger confidence, because once blood flow returns, life flow returns too. Remember, healing isn't about chasing perfection. It's about consistency, showing up for your body every single night, even for just a few minutes. And if you start tonight, your future self will thank you for it. I truly care about men reclaiming their health and dignity without shame or fear. That's why I share these methods, because knowledge should be free, and every man deserves to wake up feeling alive again. If this video helped you save it so you can follow the steps later tonight, hit the like button if you believe natural healing still matters. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because every week I share new science-backed ways to strengthen your body hormones and performance naturally. And tell me in the comments below, which of these steps do you plan to start with tonight? I read everyone, and I love hearing your stories of recovery.